As between communicate, unfortunately, that's like the major part of politics now, is being able to communicate in that way with the broad section of America. I have a question for you, Hutch. As between Piers Morgan and Hasan Piker, who are you more mad at based on their coverage?
Jesus. Wait, based on the coverage of which thing? Hold on. Let me get some context. What a question. How do you compare those two people? Oh, man.
Way in the other direction. So
here's the hard truth, in my opinion, with respect to like where to orient yourself or triangulate your position. I don't know what you want to call it. Populism and populist politics is having a moment right now, and it's impossible to deny that, with some exceptions, maybe Mark Carney in Canada, but really with few exceptions. Albanese right now is getting thundered in the polls. Keir Starmer, Macron, across the world, there's a populist moment, and the lefties are absolutely right about that. And I don't think.
God, Piers doesn't know. I just don't think he has much of a political understanding. I'm trying to be mean, but like lefties are not just populists, though. Like they use that vehicle of populism to kind of shoehorn in the cringy ultra socialist stuff, depending on who you call, I guess, lefties, or depending on who you call populists. But like all of these labels are so fluid and they mean different things to different people as well. I feel like you should clarify more there, but I don't know.
I think that where the American people are at is ideologically committed to the right, or like on these cultural issues. I think it's about how they're being spoken to with what kind of aura. And so, yeah, I'm not really committed ideologically to one particular version of the Democratic Party. I want killers who are able to communicate. Unfortunately, that's like the major part of politics now, is being able to communicate in that way with the broad section of America. I have a question for you, Hutch. As between Piers Morgan and Hasan Piker, who are you more mad at based on their coverage?
Who do I think does more harm, you mean?
Both. Mad at and harm.
Fuck, that's such a hard question. They do harm in such different ways. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. That's hard to say. Like, yeah. I think they do different kinds of harm. I think
we're mind melded.
I think Piers Morgan,
because like with Piers, you kind of know who he is at least. Piers does this like faux centrist, like, oh, like I'm just a centrist guy. No, they don't say that. He says, I'm a liberal. Really? You guys just got so far away from me. And it's like, okay. But Hasan is like supposed to be on our team, supposedly, right?
He thrives and capitalizes off of really thought-terminating, idiotic debates that can be sort of entertaining in the way that two dumpster trucks colliding at 90 miles per hour in 4K, 500 frames per second is entertaining. But I think Hasan is very actively
undermining,
creating a permission structure to not support the Democratic nominee in 2028. And I think he is more consumed with a delusional fantasy that he's this leader of a vanguard movement of a new kind of like socialist party.
Yeah, Piers is delusional on Trump and like claiming that, like what I'm going to say is basically the following in response to like what should be done with.
This is super desanct. I don't know why. Don't complain about it. I can't do anything about it.
It almost feels like a mafia line. Like, should something be done with them? Like, I just feel that we should respond to them as appropriate, call out their bad takes as appropriate. But the obsession is something I don't understand. The obsession is something I don't understand, and why, as opposed to someone like Piers Morgan, as opposed to like Joe Rogan.
If you don't understand the obsession at this point, you're probably just not qualified to have an opinion on anything going on here. I don't think you should talk about it. If you can't understand the frustration or the upsettedness of having somebody who is supposed to be on your side constantly undercutting all of your candidates, refuse to actively endorse or support Kamala Harris in the last election, and continues to maintain the position that either party would have been more or less the same in power, I just don't know why you would even venture out into this territory at all to offer an opinion. It just feels like you're like, this would be like me coming out and having like strong, I don't know why people care so much about AI doobers. I don't know enough about it. I don't have a strong opinion on it because I don't know that much about it. I don't know why you would venture this opinion here. Well, why are you so obsessed?
As opposed to like Dave Smith. I see a Dave Smith tweet, I fucking respond. But Hutch, it seems personal.
God. Oh my God. That's such a fucking shitty way of framing it. Also, Hutch could even argue that for him, it might even be a little personal because was Hutch, I'm trying to remember, was Hutch one of the people who got doxxed when Hasan was platforming Bad Empanada, when he was going through his video and showing the addresses and everybody on Twitch and nobody gave a fuck about this ever because Hasan is literally controlled opposition, right? So Hutch could even use the argument, and he's been attacked also a lot by Hasan. But I mean, obviously that's not the only reason, that's not even the primary reason why Hasan is so problematic. But...
No. What I find like personally aggrieving about Hasan is that I think his actions and his attitudes, and it's not just him. I don't just talk about him. I'm very focused on him in the last week because of what he said. And I think it kind of vindicates like what I've been saying, what I've been trying to tell people about this part of the internet, that they are destructive. They are arsonists. What I find particularly grieving about this is that I think it leads to really bad outcomes where people get hurt. We ended a program that is estimated to have saved 91 million lives from 2001 to 2021. USAID is estimated to have saved 91 million lives. We can restart that program again if we elect a Democrat president and potentially spare 10 to 15 million dead people over the next 10 years.
Do you think I don't agree with everything you're telling me right now? Like,
I'm laying out my reasoning. And so like, if I focus on one person, it's because I think there's value in attacking that viewpoint. And I think like the people that say, why are you so obsessed with Hasan? This reminds me of when people say like, why are you so obsessed with Donald Trump? It's like, well, the reason I'm talking about Hasan so much is because
it's such a weak way to kind of get people off of somebody's back. Like, here's my criticism A, B, and C. Why are you so obsessed, bro? Like, it's such a loser way of trying to fight against criticism, in my opinion. I don't know. I think it's a really cringe line of attack.
Literally one of the top streamers in the world. He's insanely influential. And I think there needs to be people that are out there actively trying to discredit his idiotic, vapid, grifty bullshit.
Yeah.
But Hutch, and I would say it is, Hutch, can we turn it around on you? Would you commit to voting for Hasan over JD Vance in the general?
I already told you I would Minecraft myself if you made me choose between the two.
No, come on, that's a cop out, Hutch.
Like, this is, oh my God, this is such a bullshit question because Hasan theoretically, like, they're trying to act like it's the same thing as asking Hasan if he would vote for Newsom versus, JD Vance. I don't even know. I just had this thought pop in my head. Did Hasan even support USAID? Because a lot of the hardcore lefty types, Hutch just gave his opinion that like, well, things like USAID leaving are really bad. A lot of the lefty types that I saw posting on Twitter and shit, because that's the only place they are, were literally saying, well, USAID was just a CIA psyop in order to give us access to other countries to do evil things anyway. So it's not even that big of a deal. Like Hasan might actually think that. I don't know if I've heard him give comments on like, oh, USAID going away is really bad, or if he endorses that point of view, that it's just a giant fucking co-op, or not a co-op, a giant psyop. Or I don't know what you call it. No, that wouldn't be a psyop. That would just be an op-op, I guess. Like a CIA operation.
I would literally do that. I'm not even kidding.
No, that's not the question. You said Epstein. So it seems like you're saying that you prefer to vote for Jeffrey Epstein than Hasan Piker by transitive property of equality.
Wait, hold on. The choices are Jeffrey Epstein and Hasan.
No. So you said you would vote for Jeffrey Epstein in Democrat soup, and so that's already given. And you're
no.
So you said you would vote for Jeffrey.
Did he say he would support Epstein over Vance, or was it Epstein over another like lawmaker, like for Congress? I don't remember. It might have been Epstein over Vance, maybe. But
Epstein in Democrat soup, and so that's already given.
Okay.
And you're equivocal. You have a different position seemingly on Hasan Piker running against JD Vance, and it seems like based on that, the transitive property, therefore Epstein is preferable to Hasan Piker as leader.
I don't understand.
Unfortunately, probably, yeah. As bad as that is, but that's a really hard bullet to bite. But it's also kind of a bullshit bullet to bite. And Pisco's not really making any point here. I think the goal here is just to try to humiliate Hutch, but
logically follows.
I don't understand how much more Hasan needs to say for people to realize.
Can you respond to what I just said about the Epstein comparison to Hasan Piker?
Don't do the debate bro thing. I'm going to say what I have to say. I don't know how many more things Hasan needs to say before people fully
It is bullshit. Do we even know what Epstein's politics are? My guess is, based on listening to him talk about finance, he probably think his standard like neoliberal political perspective. Plus he was Jewish, so probably like center left or left leaning, like for social issues, say for the fucking kids thing or whatever. Like so.
Understand that he does not believe in liberal democracy. He is a
I just
Marxist.
made a point about Epstein. I just made a point about Epstein. I'm not going off this point, Hutch. I'm not going off this point.
He's a Marxist-Leninist. No, you're trying to moralize about Epstein and whatnot. And we're talking about a guy who...
You think Hasan is worse than Jeffrey Epstein.
That's like what Pisco just said there, and he knows this. I'm just going to call these out as they happen. These are bad faith talking points, right? Like, saying that you would vote for Epstein over JD Vance is not an endorsement of either person's character. Saying that you would prefer one over the other and then using this transitive property, however the fuck this works, I guess, for absurd hypotheticals, is not saying, well, I think that Epstein is a better person than Hasan Piker. It's showing like who you preferred. It's showing how horrible it would be to have a MAGA administration that you might even prefer a pedophile in power who at least has some notion of what American values are, regardless of his horrible personal, whatever horrible personal misgivings you might have about them, that you would prefer that to a continuation of MAGA. But then to do this weird substitution of, so you think that Epstein is a better person? Like, I half expect Pisco next to be like, so you'd rather have Epstein babysit your kids versus Hasan Piker. So you think Epstein's better, right? You'd rather have babysit your kids, right? Like, it's such a stupid, he's just bullying, I guess, yeah.
Who brought Jeffrey Epstein? That's what it shows you. What is Jeffrey Epstein? You did when you said I would vote for Epstein over fucking JD Vance.
Tell me, what is Jeffrey Epstein's policy platform?
There we go. That was a good question. Wow, what is his policy platform? Because we know Hasan's, it's real bad. It's about as bad as it can be.
Dude, you don't need to know Jeffrey Epstein's policies.
You don't need to know. Here's
See, like, that was the dumbest possible thing Pisco should have said. He should lay into that. He should not let him forget that quote. Or he should just, what do you mean, explain that? It doesn't matter what the policy platform is? We're literally talking about electing somebody for president on their policy platform. Or did he think that when Hutch said, well, I'd vote for fucking Epstein over JD Vance, that he did it because he thought Epstein was a better, like, more moral individual? Or what does he think?
what I know about him.
You said
Here's
you're
what I know.
on abortion. You don't need.
You
Here's what I
voted for
know.
him over JD Vance.
Here's
you
what I
didn't
know
need to know
about.
that.
Here is what I know about Hasan. He romanticizes, lionizes, and idolizes Vladimir fucking Lenin. Do you know how many people, fucking millions of people,
I'm
died
not moving
under
off
his
this point,
regime?
Hutch. This is a
And you
dodge.
wanna
This is a
moralize?
dodge.
No,
This
you're
is a
doing prime
dodge. This is
ties.
a dodge. This is
No,
this
you're
is not
doing
prime
prime
time
ties.
anything.
Yes, you are.
No,
Yes,
no,
you
this is
are.
not prime time.
You
This is not prime
justified
time.
me.
No, I'm not
You
moving
justified
off
me.
this.
I also, and I don't know, this is just, if they just do this on the show and they all kind of understand this and it's cool or whatever, but like this is a friendly, I imagine, like a friendly-ish conversation on a podcast with people who are like friendly with each other. And when Pisco's so eager to be like, you're dodging, this is a dodge, intentional dodge, you're dodging. It's like, bro, he's answering the question. He's not like being deposed right now. Jesus.
Why you would vote for Hasan? Why would you vote for Hasan?
Harm reduction. Hasan would be better than JD Vance. That's why you vote for Epstein over JD Vance. Wait, that's why you would
Harm reduction, how? You should ask how.
vote for Epstein over JD. That's why you would vote for Epstein over JD Vance, right? Isn't it the case that you would vote for Epstein over JD Vance? Didn't you say that? And presumably your answer.
You're saying it would be harm reduction to vote for
So then say it, Hutch.
Yeah,
Say that I view Jeffrey Epstein as a better leader than Hasan Piker.
No,
it's on your own statement. Wait, you know you fucked yourself. You know you fucked yourself. You know you did.
No, you're telling me that you would vote for somebody who presided over tens of millions of deaths. Pisco. That's
Hasan Piker?
No, he modeled his politics after fucking Vladimir Lenin, and then you're turning it around on me.
So then just say then say Epstein is preferable to Hasan Piker.
I'm starting to feel embarrassed because Jose is here and it's like we're fighting. So let's.
Yeah.
No,
I'm still wondering why.
Can you just say?
I'm still wondering how a corpse would get
Hasan Piker?
nominated to be the Democratic nominee.
Well, it's Ghost. Well, I can say it without any hesitation. I would vote for Hasan over JD Vance in a heartbeat, and I have a feeling Jose would too. Jose, what do you say? Hasan versus JD Vance?
Yeah. If somehow Hasan decided to jump into the Democratic fray and become and run and win, yeah, of course. Of course, I would vote for him as the. As the
You're the odd one out here, Hutch. We'd all vote for Hasan. We all think he would be better than a Trump presidency.
Then we have very different kind of opinions about like how Marxist-Leninist governance like functions and actually is.
You're taking.
Pisco probably doesn't even believe he's an ML. I don't know how much IRA even follows the Hasan stuff. He probably, I don't know how much like political philosophy IRA dives into. So he might just think that Hasan is further left. I never know Soy Pill where he's at exactly. I don't know what Jose's familiarity with him is either.
The worst possible outcome of unintentional policies from Hasan and comparing them to intentional fascism and saying they're about equal and I would off myself.
Soy
I think that's not right.
He legitimately stands Vladimir Lenin. He thinks that that's a
Like, this is also one of the reasons why, when I was talking to Ryan Getty yesterday, I'm so uncomfortable with Americans kind of embracing like the democratic socialist label or the SocDem label. I don't call myself a SocDem anymore, because people are so mind fucked and have like absolutely no concept. They just think that like I guess in some ways the Hasan, it's not even a grift. It's the concealment of his actual political beliefs. It kind of works on these people, on like Pisco or the Soy Pill. Like, oh, he just wants, you know, like single payer healthcare and an expanded welfare state and maybe, you know, no more genocide in Palestine. Like, that's what they think the extent of the beliefs are. And then, so of course, from that level, well, it's not that bad. He's basically like AOC or Bernie Sanders, but even more left. Like, that's what their engagement with the subject matter is. And so you sound unhinged if you try to say that you wouldn't support Hasan almost under any circumstances, but like it's just so
model for how to like conduct governance. Do you understand that?
Campaign,
I understand.
campaign rhetoric, Hutch.
Okay, so
That's
why the
campaign
fuck would I
rhetoric, okay?
ever
Okay, like-
asking me to choose between him and Jeffrey Epstein? I guess
You picked Epstein already. You've already laid that out.
But it's
Look,
like
wait, Hutch. Do you think Hasan wants everyone to have health care?
oh my god. Oh! I don't know, bro. I don't know what you can do for these types. This is why I'll never embrace these labels or endorse these labels. I think it's too cancerous. It's too scary. It's too risky. There are just too many like unaware types, I guess, that unironically believe this.
Yes or no? No, I'm not trying to gotcha.
Oh
I'm
my
just
God,
saying.
bro.
Do you think he wants that? Do you think
Sure,
do you
yeah,
actually think
yes,
okay?
yes,
So
yes.
like, I would pick someone who's trying, maybe in a bad way, to get universal health care from everyone, than Donald Trump, who says, I'm going to cut taxes on billionaires, fuck people. I don't care if they die, and let's go send ICE in and round all these people up. I don't care if worst case scenario it could be bad.
Would you,
I'm saying
hang on a minute. Would you fucking defend
Like, It's such a dumb, like, fascists don't necessarily oppose universal health care. Like, if Donald Trump were to say, if we, you know, get rid of every single Muslim, every single brown person, every single African immigrant from this country, we can use the money and get some kind of, like, big healthcare program for the average U.S. citizen or whatever. Like, people who are hardcore fasci types, this is why they're called, like, third positionalists, right? It's because they'll be economically very left, but culturally very right-wing. It's just such a stupid... it's all good.
Kim Jong-un because everybody in North Korea has healthcare?
No.
Okay.
Do you
so
think,
what
do you
the
think
fuck
it's
is
just a
going on
fun
here,
model
bro?
of
Come
healthcare?
on.
Do you think Hasan wants Kim Jong-un healthcare? Is that what he's like?
Yes. Oh, have you heard of Venezuela, guys?
Hasan literally said.
But like that, but yeah. Oh my God, dude. I don't know who these guys watch, where they get their information from. I don't know. Good memes, I guess. I don't even know why the fuck I'm trying to kill this thing.
Literally, this is what he believes. Like, he believes in a uniparty. He would ban political opposition. Do you understand this?
Yes.
What do I care if I have healthcare if I can't?
They ban not
Like Hutch should push them on this because they're not saying yes. I don't know if it's because their audience cucked or they just don't know or they just don't want to engage with it or maybe they believe it secretly and they just don't want to admit it. I don't know. Like, he should get them to acknowledge that. Like, in Hasan Piker's world, maybe not eliminate every other political party. Maybe there would be multiple socialist parties. That guy's not shooting at me, is he? Maybe there would be multiple socialist parties, but like capitalist parties would be banned. Like, you wouldn't be allowed to have these types of political movements in your country in his ideal world. Uh-oh, who joined?
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh shit. Hi, what's up, buddy?
Hey, I saw you were watching the clip of us on Live and Learn. Can you blackpill me on Hasan? Like, if it was literally Hasan versus Trump, why would this somehow be like a hard choice?
I don't think I can convince you of that. I don't think you.
Why not?
I could kill. This guy sucks. Hold on.
Oh, are you playing Arc Raiders? Sorry.
I can't win now. This guy missed every fucking shot. He's really trying to. Oh my God. Hold on.
Do what you got to do. Win, son.
What is wrong with you? I'm out here trying to farm the spider. You make me do this. I didn't want to have to do this, and you made me do it. Oh, and I can't even fucking loot him. Okay. Okay.
Well, before you say anything, let me preface.
Yeah.
One, I'm already on your side. One, I think Hasan's a fucking idiot. A lot. Two, like, everything that I was talking to about Hutch in that conversation, I agree with him, where it's like, yeah, obviously harm reduction, obviously I'm voting for Gavin Newsom. So this whole rhetoric, I've been on the same side. But it doesn't make sense to me that the worst that Hasan Piker could possibly do is somehow worse than Trump. I'm lost there.
Because Hasan Piker is not liberal, right? He doesn't defend liberalism. He doesn't believe in liberal concepts. Like, he's illiberal. Sure. He would want to find a way to basically create some type of single party system that bans free enterprise, that bans private investment, that bans opposing political parties. Like,
okay.
This is like
don't get me wrong.
Yeah, this is the disaster end goal with Trump as well, with fighting liberal people. Yes.
Right. So in my mind, I can imagine a world where we get some, tanky hellhole, hellscape. There's only one party. It's all central planned. There's gulags and re-education camps. Don't get me wrong. I can imagine if if he could snap his fingers, do whatever he wants. But in the same way, Trump is like held back by certain systems and checks and balances. I think Hasan would be as well. And it doesn't make sense to me that the worst that
stop. You don't believe this argument. You don't believe this argument. I don't know why you just did this. No, you don't. Because the argument that you just put forth here is that the only thing Hasan wants is social payer or single payer healthcare. Okay, so that's not an argument saying
I did say that. I did say that in the thing. But
so number one,
number
two, when you described Hasan earlier, you just said he was stupid or whatever, meaning that you think that he's just kind of silly, not that he actually has a coherent political ideology that would take us away from a liberal framework. And then number three, obviously it's a much different question from a harm reductionist perspective. If you're saying, well, I would vote for Hasan because I don't think he would get anything done. Right? That's a totally different answer that I'm gonna guess is probably never gonna come up in this show.
I'm saying the worst in case of Trump right now is really fucking bad. Let's say, like, to the extent, if we're looking at a spectrum of like what is being allowed within the system and all of these like rules being broken and institutions being demolished, I have yet to see a good argument as to why the worst that Hasan would want and accomplish to the same degree is worse than what's happening right now.
Well, it would be, what the worst thing that he would want to accomplish would be worse than the current admin because we would completely abandon our liberal democratic framework. But the worst thing that Trump would want would be worse than what we have now because he still has to be constrained by the system to some extent. So I don't know how to grapple with that.
So when you come at me and you say Hasan wants to end liberal democracy, I can accept
Yes.
this premise given if he's like a tanky, right?
Yes.
But what I'm trying to say is like, yeah, okay, Trump wants this too, right? He would have
Yeah.
a single party. I get to do whatever I want, dictatorship. So I'm like, where do these things? Do you just view them as exactly equal if
Pretty
they had
much.
exactly the same amount of
There
power?
mu- if I have a spectrum and like liberal democracy is at like 100 and fascism is at 0, then the thing that Hasan wants is at like 3 or 4. Like they map onto each other almost as perfect circles. They just have different enemies and they use slightly different language. But
Okay, well, help me out then. What if Hasan was flip everything? Trump admin route, Hasan's in power right now. What is the worst thing happening right now? I see. Okay, yeah, like maybe USAID. I think the tankies are anti this for like, oh, it's the CIA or whatever bullshit. But it's like, okay, all the ICE crap, all the tax breaks, all this crap is awful. I think, and destroying our country. What to the same extent would Hasan be accomplishing with the exact same amount of power and checks and balances?
I mean, it could be starting with the expropriation of every private industry in the United States. Maybe the United States government takes over all of our private sector. So like the air.
Wait. No, hold on. I'm aware that he wants to accomplish this, but he wouldn't have gotten this far with the exact same power, the exact same progression as Trump has had, right? Like, he
Okay,
wouldn't
hold on,
have
wait. Do you
expropriated
agree
private
then
industry.
with my tweet where I said I would rather elect Hitler than Trump or whatever?
Is this the one where you said, well, Hitler, in current day,
Because if this is
would not be able to get
this is the
anything
argument I'm
done?
going to go with, then Hitler wouldn't get anything done. He's fucking Hitler. Nobody likes Hitler. Even Republicans en masse probably wouldn't support Hitler.
Right, which
But,
is
like,
why I'm asking if Hasan accomplished the exact same amount of progress that Trump has had with Trump's, ideal world that we're not getting to, but he's trying to get to. Hasan wants to get to this world that you're like, hey, this would be awful.
then they'd
single-party
probably be,
state.
I guess it would be similarly bad. It would just depend on who you, like things would just play out in different ways. And then I guess you would have to try to find a way to quantify what would be worse. So for Trump, of this hyper retarded nationalist obsessive agenda, has decided to tariff the entire world, which has a hugely negative impact on our local domestic economy. Hasan Piker would start expropriating a whole bunch of companies, which would also have a massive drain on our local economy. Tariffing every other country in the world makes us a very unstable platform that nobody wants to invest in. Expropriating all of our businesses makes us a very unstable platform that nobody wants to invest in. Like, I don't know how you would measure like which one of these would necessarily be worse, but they would cause very similar types of harms just using different routes to get there. Trump might want the secret police to go around and round up people using ICE. Hasan might want the expropriation police to go around and, bully business owners until they, I guess, divest from their companies and either flee their state or they have to give all their shit up to, whatever government official comes by. I don't know what that would look like because Trump wants to put political opponents in prison. Hasan wants to put them in re-education camps. Like at the end of the day, this is why Hutch said he'd rather kill himself. Like, I don't know how you even compare these at the end of the day. Would I rather have like Hitler or Mao leading my country through some type of industrial revolution? Fuck, gee, I don't know. That's a genuinely difficult question in a way that Newsom versus JD Vance is not a difficult question. That's a very easy question.
Right. The reason we brought it up is because it's like, it seems like, yes, obviously the situations are different, but it's like you're going to shit on Hasan for saying, oh, I take the third option out, which is, for some people is killing yourself. The other is, or voting third party, whatever. But like when faced with a harm reductionist argument, it's just, oh, these things are equally bad. And the reason I don't think
wait. You just gave an opposition to a point that I literally just answered right before you said that. What was the thing I said right before that?
that the degree of potential badness is not really quantifiable between Gavin Newsom and JD Vance versus Hasan and
Yes.
JD Vance /
Newsom
Trump.
versus
Yeah.
JD Vance that's a no-brainer. AOC versus
know.
JD Vance or Bernie Sanders versus JD Vance. These are no-brainers.
You're right. I don't
sane
disagree with
person.
this point.
Yeah. But a Marxist-Leninist, a super fundamentally illiberal person who hates the West, who's going on Hate America tours, whether it's in Minneapolis, Qatar, or China, that's a much more difficult question. Like, and I'm sure that if you were to,
I agree.
I'm sure if you were to tell Hutch, like, we could sit down and do all the math, and let's say that we find out at the end of the day that Hasan's, total revision of the entire United States would be marginally better than JD Vance's fascist derivation of the United States. I'm sure Hutch would say, okay, fine, I guess I would go with Hasan in that perspective. But you are like, you're moving fundamentally into a horribly different world there.
Okay, yeah, potentially. I think the reason I think it's not a it's still like obviously a harder question, but not an impossible question, is like, okay, this person, at least on the path to getting all the things I probably disagree with, is going to get me a lot of things I do agree with, and that's why I brought up the single-payer healthcare thing. Or at
but
least
Hasan doesn't care about single-payer
healthcare.
healthcare. He doesn't advocate for these things. This is lip service that he pays. He just talks about class struggle. He hates it when people bring up stuff like single-payer healthcare or minority issues or trans people or whatever. He gets so triggered on these because he just wants to talk about class stuff and overcoming the proletariat. Like he'll pay lip service to the social policies every now and then, but then when he's talking about them at a later date, he'll say these are just things that you throw up in front of the proletariat to satiate them so that they're happy with the horrible state of capitalism and they allow it to endure.
So, right. Okay. I'm taking your word on this because I've not seen this, but
Of course
I watch a lot of stuff on. No. This isn't me like saying like I've never seen this. It doesn't happen. I'm just like sure. Let's assume this is true. But again, in my calculus of this, it seems to be that like on the road to Trump getting what he wants, which is this dictator fascist bullshit, we are getting all this horrible policy, right? Tax cuts, Republican neocon bullshit, getting the tariffs, all this stuff, and it's like. My imagination is the reason why Hasan Piker, even if you're saying it's just paying lip service, is supporting a AOC or a Bernie or a Mamdani, is because at the very least, those policies that I like, that AOC, Bernie, and Mamdani propose, are on the path towards his crazy, insane ML bullshit, right? So would that not be at least a better option on the way there?
Like maybe, but we're engaged in. There's like a heavy predictive philosophical, like a lot of guesswork. Like this is not an easy question in the way that JD Vance versus Newsom is an easy question, right?
I agree. It's not the same degree, but it's so much easier for me to say, obviously, I align with a Marxist-Leninist on more things than I do anything on the right? So like
do you?
At the very
well, then
least,
if
this
you
is
do,
still
but then
harm
you should just.
reductionist.
But if you do, then you should just say that, and then so then you would be. We'd view you as an ML, and we would argue from that perspective. Then it wouldn't make sense.
But I'm not
with what
saying
you're
I'm an ML. I'm saying MLs. I don't have an ML ideology, but the steps that America would need to go through to transform into Marxist-Leninism are going to be things I agree with partly.
What if the first thing that Hasan
right?
wants to do is capitalize on this weird like Trump share thing and Intel and U.S. Steel, and he wants to nationalize all of the U.S. energy? Like that could be a thing that could potentially like catastrophically destroy our country. It's part of what fucked with Venezuela so hard was they're nationalizing, expropriating, and then trying to run all of their energy stuff. So like that could be a thing.
Okay, if that's the first thing that happened, yeah, that could fuck us. Okay, I understand that.
What do you think would be the first thing that would happen?
Well, if I'm imagining again, like this is an equal sides of the spectrum. If we're assuming these things are equally bad, but one is to the left and one is to the right, I imagine we'd be like, all right, we're raising taxes on the rich right now. Okay, now we have like ICE is abolished, or like
I guess, but I don't think he wouldn't want to raise taxes on the rich. He wants to expropriate, like take their wealth and control it with the state, not just raise taxes.
I'm aware of his end goals. I'm saying if Hasan was president, the hypothetical I brought up earlier was not Hasan gets everything he wants. It was if I'm voting between Trump and Hasan, it's if you're okay saying these are not ideal, sure. What happens on the path towards then? Obviously, more things that I want are going to be on the path left.
Listen, I think like there's a intellectual exercise that you can engage on for this, but it's so far removed from the Newsom Vance hypothetical that it's not brought up in good faith. Like this is like having a debate with somebody over, whether or not a 16-year-old girl could consent to Jeffrey Epstein, and then you bring up like a case study of a hyper-intelligent 9-year-old, and it's like, well, could a 9-year-old theoretically, hypothetically engage sexually with a person if their brain developed twice the speed? And it's like, I guess, but like in the context of the Epstein conversation, this is not brought up in good faith. This is not like an appropriate forum to discuss that particular topic again. Much the same that like on Hasan Piker's way to realizing a Marxist-Leninist version of the United States of America, could the first few steps he take also be the same steps that a super progressive person would take towards like taxation or social welfare? It's a question you could ask, but it's so far removed from Newsom over JD Vance. It's like I
agree, but also the other.
Well, wait. If you agree, then why have that conversation then? Why would that be the comparison?
Because in regards to Hutch specifically and analyzing this question, he has brought up like, hey, segregationists or like any other like very extreme like people that you would accept into the coalition to win against fascism, which by the way, I agree with. Theoretically, this might be something we could do. Although, there's arguments about what happens as a downstream effect of this. And Hutch's argument against this is, well, I'm willing to accept that fight and dealing with those things in short term because I believe it's easier to deal with these like people within our party fighting and stopping the fascism in the immediate and then dealing with the other stuff later, which is the same kind of thing that I would say he should bring up with Hasan, where it's like, yeah, okay, maybe we'll get some good things and we'll stop
Well, no,
fascism
wait,
in the short
but the
term, and then we have to stop
segregationists-
him before he gets more
But
party.
the
more power.
segregationist can align with you on a lot of things potentially. He's just racist, right? Which is not good, and maybe he wants to see that embedded in
That's a
government
pretty
policy.
fundamental difference, though. That like I
It's
would
not- no,
consider
a
segregation a pretty much like ML in terms of
It's-
this is completely incoherent with my ideology.
Sure, you would just be completely and totally wrong. Like a segregationist could want single-payer healthcare. They could want private enterprise. They could want freedom of speech. They could want protection for religion. Like a segregationist theoretically could want all of these things. They just think that different races of people go in different areas. An ML is going to be fundamentally misaligned with liberals on a whole bunch of things that are.
And ML will say, I don't like segregation, right? Like there are things I could find overlap, but I'm still like, I heavily disagree with this person, right? Like this is what I'm saying. It's like in both of these cases, these are heavily people that I do not want in power, period, but might accept. Hutch definitely would accept the long-term consequences over the short term, right? And so it's like, why is this not then applied to the Hasan argument? That's the whole point.
I guess it comes down to how much you think you have in alignment with them. I don't think a true liberal will have much in alignment with Hasan Piker or those types, like with ML types. You're just not going to have that much in alignment. Segregationists can just be racist, but MLs have like a whole ideology that is completely contraindicated by liberalism. That's completely contradictory and opposed by liberalism, and the manifestation of like the best segregationist versus the best. I mean, we were segregated as a country, and we came out of segregation. We won that fight. We were segregated. We came out of it, and it was liberals that won that fight. I don't think we've ever been socialist, and I don't think we would ever come out of or come back from socialists leading the political party. Like,
Okay, that's fair. I guess as long as you understand that I'm saying that there's clearly, and you can say if we did the math, we did the calculus, probably a preferable outcome in this. Yeah, it's not comparable to the Newsom thing, but it's still like I think a cop out to say these things are exactly equally bad because I don't think they are.
well, it's not. Hold on,
both
it's not
bad.
a cop out. You already agreed with my point, so you should agree that it's inappropriate to bring it up here. Newsom versus JD Vance is infinitely easier than a tanky versus JD Vance. That's a hard question. And even I would be willing to admit, for all the personal hatred I have of all these fucking losers, there might be, if I were to really sit down and really hammer down, really think about it, maybe I would support an ML over JD Vance. Because Vance might be an actual fucking fascist. Like that might be, I think I'd almost be willing to do it. Like I said, I just haven't done enough digging into it, but probably. But that would require it's a lot of thinking. I don't have to think about AOC versus Vance. I don't have to think about Bernie Sanders. I don't have to think about Ilhan Omar versus Vance.
The reason I'm saying why do you have to do a lot of thinking if it's like one of these things is going to be some things I like, most things I don't like, but I can stop them versus all things I don't like in the other direction.
How
Why
is
that a
fascism
harder
all
question?
things I don't like? You don't think you would align with a single thing that a fascist government would want? Not even one thing?
I mean, I guess I'm okay with the food dye ban.
I don't think
know.
food dye bans are necessarily inherent to
I'm
fascist
just
ideology.
referencing the Trump
Wasn't the
ban right
meme
now,
with
but, like,
fucking Italy, like the trains are on time or whatever bullshit? Like I'm sure like fascist people wouldn't mind, like the reason why they were called third position is because they don't mind being economically left on things as long as it's benefiting like a native certain racial population. So they might say things like for instance, a lot of the rhetoric around being super xenophobic comes down to protecting native workers. That was a thing that Bernie Sanders agreed with Donald Trump on. Bernie Sanders was with dramatically curbing the H-1B vote program and dramatically curbing a lot of immigration, saying that it harmed native workers. Now, Bernie Sanders doesn't come at it from a racial perspective or a hardcore, heavy nationalistic perspective, but that could be.
Yeah, but they align. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, you can find things like this with fascists.
Right, but the reason I say it's still easier, I'm not saying it's not a harder question than Newsom Vance. Obviously, it's completely out of the ballpark, but it's like, don't you think there are more things that on the steps towards an ML getting power you would agree with than a fascist government?
I don't know. I don't think so. When you start talking about banning political parties, we can look at historically. I know they like to disown all of it, but like historically,
before we get that, I agree. If you were to say like the extremes of an ML versus the extremes of a fascist, but it's like, obviously the path towards the
no,
ML's
I understand the
exactly
extremes, but
ideal
you seem
world.
to think that they're fundamentally different things. Like, I'm sorry. You seem to think that like the ML stuff is further along the spectrum of progressivism. They're not. It's a totally different paradigm. You're moving like orthogonally or whatever to the current political framework. It's like saying you can eventually be convinced to. I'm trying to think of a non-pedophile analogy. Like if you start eating
a
worse
hot
and worse,
topic. It's
yeah,
hard.
if you start eating worse and worse food at some point on the way to like a guy who advocates for eating shit, like he might get you better recipes or something. But you're just like, they're fundamentally completely, totally different things. But in your mind, and this is why I said at the very beginning, I don't think I convinced you. I think in your mind, like Marxist-Leninism in its purest form is just like socialized healthcare and like really, really high minimum wages and maybe banning billionaires.
Wait. What? Just to be clear, I'm aware that I very much do not want Marxist-Leninism. I think it's anti-liberal. I think it's like horrible the way that they control like people's freedom. And there's secret police and all this bullshit, right? Like I don't want that. But what I'm saying is, if the people that are MLs, Hasan, are on the steps towards getting to what I wants ideally, supporting politicians that I align with, I would always say it's easier for me to pick the ML over the fascist who on the steps towards getting the fascist government.
Sure. What do you think is the most likely thing, the most likely steps that would benefit you? The most likely one. Name the one most likely step you think Hasan would take.
Oh, like as in power?
Yeah, where you're like, oh, well, I could see at least in heading in this direction, I would be okay with this.
Healthcare was the first one to pop to mind, but yeah,
How much time does he talk about,
any
like-
Bernie or AOC thing, yeah.
How does he talk about, how often is Hasan talking about like single payer healthcare?
I have no idea. I don't watch Hasan. I'm just assuming based on the politicians he supports.
Yeah, but the politicians he supports are not tankies or ML, and usually...
That's what I'm saying.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that on the steps of Hasan getting the end goals of what he wants, he's going to go through the steps of progressivism that I support. And that is so much obviously better than the steps that people will take to get to the ideal world of fascism.
Okay. I'm not saying that you're wrong or that I even necessarily disagree. I'm just saying that I would have to sit down and think about this a lot. But to go back to my point earlier, whatever the answer to this question is a much more difficult question to answer.
Yeah, I've already conceded on it. It's a more difficult question, but it's still an easy question for me. Right?
That's because you either are super naive about what Hasan believes, or you're much closer to the ML position than you're letting on. But it's it has to be one of those two things. But then the question is, why the comparison between Hasan and JD Vance rather than like AOC or Bernie Sanders to JD Vance?
The point was to pick someone that that Hutch very clearly hates, and it says, look, here's these two options, and this is the reason Hasan won't pick, right? It's not because it's a hard question. It's because in his crazy ML framework, these two things are so close to being like these are both fascists. Like the Democratic Party is fascist, or they will enable fascism. So it's basically over. It's doomed. And this is like, all right, Hutch. Well, you think Hasan is just as bad as Trump? Like, is that truly just how bad it is? Because let's put you in Hasan's foot. Like, can you actually pick one? Is there a harm reduction still here? And I still think there is.
Wait, but then Hutch has the same position where he says the same position basically as Hasan, where he says, well, I think these two are so bad, it would be really difficult to choose between.
I think Hasan's stupid, and I think if Hutch picks that, I think that's also stupid.
No, but there's an underlying factual analysis there where one could be correct. That you already agreed with.
Hutch is more correct. Hutch is more correct.
No. Newsom and JD Vance are very easy to choose between if you have any connection to the real political climate in the world in the United States. Hasan Piker, a Marxist-Leninist, and a flirting fascist guy, JD Vance, is a much harder choice to choose between.
It's harder. Right.
Much harder.
Much
harder.
I'm agreeing.
Okay.
I'm agreeing. But what I'm saying is, it's like, all right, Hutch, put yourself in Hasan's shoes. Like, you have to dumb yourself down to believe that these things are equal. They're not. However, you see these two things as pretty fucking bad. Can you still pick as a harm reduction argument? Because this is how you would have to apply this to Hasan. I think Hutch is being dumb,
but
just not nearly so dumb, because it's a much more difficult question.
But that's not true. The issue with Hasan is that because it's so obvious what the answer should be and he's unwilling to choose, it shows a fundamental misalignment in values. Not being able to choose between a Marxist-Leninist and a fascist, I don't think shows that's not a good litmus test for anything.
Well, it's seeing if you can do harm reduction, right? Which is like the big thing Hutch does, like every live and learn, is this like trolley problem. Like what is
harm
worse?
Reduction is
I understand one of these things is where I'm not trying to say these things are equivalent.
It's not about it just being worse. It's about it being like a kind of worse. Like it's almost categorically different. Since pedophilia is a hot topic, I will lean into it. One guy is saying that he wants to lower the age of consent to 17. Okay, and Hutch is like, I don't know about that guy. And then another guy saying he wants to lower the age of consent to 1. And Hutch is like, definitely not that guy. And you're trying to make this comparison that because he's like against both, it's somehow the same thing. But it's like it's not. Like there could be
the fact that he can't pick. He can say one is worse, right?
Well, no, as opposed to comparing it to like
the 1-year-old one, right?
But for Hasan would be like imagine you have a guy, I was imagining the status quo. Like, imagine you've got like 3 people. It's a 17-year-old age of consenter. It's a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old age of consenter. And you're like, well, for harm reduction, fine, lower the age of consent to 17. I'll go with that one. And you're like, oh, but you wouldn't pick the age of consent 1 versus the age of consent 0 or the age of consent 2 over the age of consent 1? That's a much, Jesus, fuck, at that point, holy fuck. Like, you're weighing things that
we're
are
fucked at that point. But to be clear, one of the things that Hutch has brought up is, would you vote for Hitler or Hitler, but he's going to kill 3 million fewer Jews? And it's like, I'd still pick the 3 million fewer Jews. Like, this is the whole point of harm reduction. Yes, obviously we're fucked either way if Hitler's in power. But if Hutch is going to bring up these arguments, like, yeah, you could still do the harm reduction.
If you want to go down,
I'd just kill myself.
If you want to go down, if you want to go down this road of argumentation, then the question should be, let's assume, because I would make that same choice. Anybody would make that same choice. But notice, because what you've done is you said all else equal, we can quantify that there will be less harm under the minus 3 million Hitler. But for Hasan and JD Vance, that's a hard call. But if you were to preface the question of, let's assume that you know that Hasan's agenda is only going to go so far. Hasan will come in as an ML, but the only thing he'll be able to get done is single-payer healthcare. Maybe he will take over, nationalize the airlines, and maybe the minimum wage goes up or whatever. That's the only thing Hasan can get done. Would you go with Hasan or JD Vance? That would be a more fair question. It's like, okay, well, harm reduction, yeah, of course, I'm going to go for Hasan. I would say that there. I'd say, yeah, sure, harm reduction, I would go for Hasan. But when you're hanging it out there, like a Marxist-Leninist versus a fascist, holy fuck, that's a hard question to answer. I don't know what the answer to that is. Again. And the reason why I'm saying I don't know isn't because like I'm just showing that it's like so extreme or whatever. I'm saying it's like a different kind of question. It's a much harder question to answer.
Especially if it's like, if they got everything they wanted. I agree with this.
Even if they started moving in that direction, that's just a very, very, very hard question answer. So it's not, I don't think you're getting at the meat of like,
I'm not sure I understand, because you're like, if it's just the moving in the direction, we've both seemed to agree that on the steps there's probably going to be way more things I'd be okay with if we moved left than right.
I never said that. It's not moving left or moving right. It's moving more authoritarian or more liberal. Like, leftists want to move more authoritarian. It's not just a single healthcare higher minimum wage thing, because that might not be Hasan's first steps. His first step might be to unally with Israel and declare a world war on them, because he thinks that their treatment of the Palestinian people is so horrible. The second step might be to capitulate militarily on every single base around the world, because he thinks Western imperialism is unethical and evil. The third step might be to completely withdraw from every type of the world, the WTO. Well, I guess I don't know. Everything like that. Like these might be the steps that he takes, because he wants to see a multipolar world. I don't know if the people still use this term anymore. He might want to see those other countries rise up and thrive. Who knows? And if those are the first steps he takes, it's, well, fuck, I would rather have the fucking JD Vance. Jesus.
But JD Vance is doing a lot of that, except for the military-based stuff. Like, we're pulling out of stuff, we're doing isolationist things, we're cutting ourselves off from globalism. Like, this is like,
sure, but we're comparing. But you're asking about like,
bad.
But this is why I'm saying it's also weird, because you're asking like the worst thing that Hasan could do. But then it's also like, well, the worst thing he could reasonably do. Like, the Trump admin wants to do more than they're doing now, but they can't. It's just. We're looping on this. I'm just saying it's very, very hard to analyze. I think that you take it for granted that a step in Hasan's direction, because again, you're just viewing this as like this left-right paradigm, and you don't have this other dimension of like,
I need to expand my axes.
Authoritarian-leaning stuff. But okay.
All right. Gun to my head, I'd still pick Hasan, but obviously not an easy question. But I think that last thing you said about the military base, isolationist, like America evil stuff. Yeah, I think that could
and
be
vibing
very
it out.
harmful,
I think I would probably, like, without doing a bunch of research, I'd probably go with this on too if I was vibing it out.
Clip it, send it.
Yeah, but like, but also like, it's just such an irrelevant. It's just such an irrelevant question, because it doesn't get to the heart of like what they were talking about before. That's not harm reduction. That's like advanced severe calculations of trying to figure out what would be better. Like, if I were to ask you, would you rather have your entire arm chopped off or your hand chopped off? Then you would say probably just your hand. But if I were to say, would you rather have 80% of your liver removed or 1.5 kidneys removed? Pick the harm reduction one right now. It's like, Jesus, fuck, I don't know. I'm sure one of the answers to this is correct, but I don't actually know. And demonstrating that I might not have a clear-cut answer there doesn't make me hypocritical for criticizing somebody else who doesn't want to choose between their arm and their hand. The arm and the hand is, if that's an easy, you want your arm, you might have to lose a hand, but that's better than losing a whole arm. That's an easy answer. And to say, well, you can't answer this thing about losing one ventricle or whatever the fuck, one compartment of your heart versus losing 1/5 of your amygdala. Like, I don't know, fuck, that's a much, much harder question. And it doesn't get to the heart of harm reduction at all, because you guys don't even agree that harm reduction will occur. You haven't even settled the harm reduction question. Whereas for Newsom and Vance, the harm reduction thing is settled. Newsom for sure would be less harm than Vance. So you would pick Newsom. Hasan might not be less harm reduction than Vance. It's a different type of question. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. What are your thoughts on the the idea that like, hey, it's so doom-pilled because all the Democrats lead to more fascism, therefore it's not harm reduction in the long term. Like, I don't agree with this either, but like, what's your take on that?
That all of them lead towards harm reduction in the long term? What do you mean?
Yeah, it's like, Obama, the conditions that Obama did by not delivering on the agenda that he promised allowed voters to be disaffected and led to Trump.
Retarded. There's a whole bunch of other reasons why that's just a massive anti-liberal cope. Anybody that says that, you're either you hate liberalism or you're just being a useful idiot for people that hate liberalism. But anybody that says that it's the Democrats' fault that Republicans came up is assuming way more coordination and control from the Democratic Party because the Republican Party has that. It's a super copey, weird argument, I think.
The argument is not that it's control. It's the argument is that it's like, hey, like this failure to deliver and make lives ultimately better in the long term, because it's short-term benefit. I think they don't disagree with this, but in the long term, people become disaffected and vote for some populist on the right because they don't get what they want. And this is going to happen if you elected a Newsom or whatever.
The reason why this is a tanky talking point is because the assumption there is that at any point in time, Democrats could have maximally delivered on everything, but they chose not to because they're ultra captured by corporate interest. So that's an argument that both parties are essentially the same, although people just don't realize it. But that's what underlines that argument. So Obama could have gotten us all these things, but he's controlled by big whoever the fuck, corpo, pharma, whatever the fuck.
Green Lantern theory. He should have fought harder. ACA, that bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Also, hi Dan and Luton. Nice to meet you guys.
Hello, Soy Pill.
How's it going? I'll get out of your way. You guys doing a pod or something?
No, I'm watching this video.
We're just Hasan connoisseurs as well.
Oh my god, yeah. I heard you, Dan. Is this true? I heard from a source that you, Hasan posting, are almost single-handedly responsible for the Twitch adpocalypse.
I would like to take as much credit as I can for the adpocalypse and for, well, at least for Hasan not being able to run ads and for Kaya Gate. I would like to take credits for both of those things.
You get none of Kaya Gate.
I get a good portion of Kaya Gate, okay? I had a lot of stuff, okay? Like, you're not even going to let me have Kaya? Really?
No.
Okay. Whatever. You know what? I don't care. Honestly, winning is winning. I don't care if I get the credit. It's fine. You can do the copium emote at the end of the day. By the way, real quick question for you, Soy Pill, because I think this is a fantastic litmus test, and it's funny because both people think it's a good litmus test.
Sure.
Did Hasan shock his dog?
Yeah, it seems pretty obvious. Yeah.
Duh.
I don't know why. The weird thing to me is like I don't think there's anything wrong with like shock training a dog. I don't even think it's cruel. Like I don't know if you guys have ever used a shock collar. Depending on the setting, it's totally fine. It's
why the fuck are we in Stella? We're supposed to be getting snitch scanners.
super obvious given all the evidence that I've seen from everyone posting, and it's like this is not a bad thing, but you lying about it makes it so much worse. Like you can just be like, yeah, I trained my dog with a shock collar. I know a lot of people that do this. I don't think it's cruel at all. It's sometimes a training method. It's fine. So the shocking part and the lying part is fucking insane to me. Because
I will say the lying part was, I think, what made it go 0 to 100 lolcow status, because I mean it's very similar to what happened to pirate software. I think if you just be like, all right, you know, you're right, I used.
Okay, wait, what are we doing right now?
We're farming friendlies.
Running down lobbies, farming friendlies.
Okay, shouldn't we be getting snitch scanners? Isn't that like the point?
Sure, we can do that. We can do that too, man.
Okay.
Just don't shoot people.
I would never. Can we kill this Bastion? I don't like him.
No.
Fuck, I hate you. I hate you so much. But okay.
Fuck, extract.
Really? Don't we have to stay in the game for some number of minutes so that it sees us as being friendly? Or was that made up?
I don't know. I about made that up.
The complete, like, opposite take on that question. Like, they'll call you insane if you say that that's not the case. Like, that you're brainwashed. Like, truly, you know.
Okay, listen.
I had Nazi parties in Germany, and honestly, I'm okay with that. So
it's like asking me to choose between like Stalin and Hitler. I choose neither. I would welcome the warm embrace of oblivion before I had to choose between.
Then I don't think.
Wait, can you criticize Hasan for saying,
yeah,
I view, like, look, I disagree, but he thinks that Gavin Newsom's policies lead to the same bad outcomes that Trump presidencies do because eventually you get a new Trump. Okay, and I disagree with that, but you're making the same argument now. I feel like you don't have a leg to stand on.
I'm right. Who cares if he's saying something different? I don't care. Who cares? Okay. All right, hold on. Let's do it.
I'd vote twice for Hasan.
Sorry, Jose. We get derailed a lot.
Oh no, you're fine. I'm enjoying it. I mean, I think Hasan's a pussy, but I mean, it is what it is, and I don't think he has Riz either. It's just because he has a lot of influence, right? And when you call him out on it, when you're like, hey, you have a lot of influence, you should have not said X, Y, Z. Maybe Kamala Harris could have won. he then backpedals and he goes, well, I'm just a streamer. I live in California. I'm just this idiot. He doesn't really double down on the influence that he has on the folks that watch.
Yeah, but he's not Jeffrey Epstein, though, right? He's not.
Oh
Jeffrey
yeah, he's not, no. I said I would vote for. I mean, Jeff Epstein's dead, but I would vote for Hasan if he was the Democratic nominee. I just don't think he has the spine that it takes to even reach that level. Because again, he talks a lot of shit on his stream. But if you were to call him out on it, he always backpedals. Even on Twitter, like when people call him out on it, he always changes the framing of what is being discussed when he quote tweets someone, and he never properly addresses what the person that he's quote tweeting.
Oh yeah, I think that's totally true. And that's one of the reasons why I do get triggered when my boy Hutch, who I love Hutch with all my heart. When he has the lefties in his replies, like 99% of the time, they're not like responding to anything he's saying, and that triggers me as someone who wants their question answered. Hutch, it triggers me when people dodge, and I think that he does it a lot. And I think that's wrong.
Like my answer.
Josiah's calling you out. If Hutch can't choose between Stalin and Hitler, ask him what FDR should have done in World War II, and ask him why he hates America.
FDR did the right thing because
He chose Stalin.
He
chose Stalin.
Yes, he did, because Hitler represented the immediate larger threat. And then what happened as soon as the war ended? We ended up in a fucking 50-year Cold War with the Soviets. That was the correct decision. No, that was the correct decision.
Okay, so you should vote for Stalin, Hasan Piker, and then afterwards we can have the Cold War with Hasan.
We can have the Cold War with Hasan Piker.
I see what you're doing. I guess you trapped me with that one.
Got him, Josiah.
Good job, Josiah. Good job. We did it. What's going on in the news, folks? I mean,
like the choosing of the reason why this is such a disingenuous question is because the choosing of the Soviet Union over Nazi Germany had to do with our the geopolitical objectives and who was situated for what at the time. Like, if it would have been the fact that somehow that Russia had taken over 80% of Europe, and Nazi Germany was a much smaller country that didn't have that much military success, we probably would have supported Nazi Germany over the Soviet Union, right? It's not like we would have just said oh, good job, Soviet Union, take over take over all of Europe. You can have everything. Good job. We're gonna help you beat up the Nazis, and you're good to go.
Freaking out over this financier.
Let me just say something real quick. I'm calling for a total and complete shutdown of Jeffrey Epstein mentions until we can figure out what the hell is going on, because he's come up. The reanimated corpse of Jeffrey Epstein has come up in the last 4 Live and Learn episodes. So I'm calling for a complete
It's in the news.
Yeah, we can figure out what the hell is going on. All right. Anyways, switching to Bondi, the Bondi hearing. That was
Epstein.
About Epstein. Yeah, this financier guy, this random dude who is. I thought he was going to run for something, but no.
Okay, when does this come back?
The U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is this is, of course, a very longstanding policy of the United States.
Okay, so I watched that thing.
Oh, I want to see the whole thing.
Well, that's Fox. That's all Fox News gives us. But
canceled.
Canceled. Yeah. Well, I think it's a pretty.
I don't give a shit.
Isn't this an easy answer?
You guys care? I mean, you just say, I can't make a decision right now. I can't preempt. Context matters. I suspect that we would have a very strong response, but I'm not going to pre-commit what I think should happen before I see all the facts. I think you just say something like that.
Oh. I mean, so I don't know. This makes me think that she's not seriously considering a presidential run, because if she was, surely she would have prepared for that question before she went to that
Taiwan
conference.
Question.
That's a big upcoming answer.
Why did Pisco say that so unbelievably? The Taiwan question? Really? I mean, China's looming is kind of this is potentially the next huge geopolitical conflict of the world. Yeah.
On a security conference, yes.
I'm not. Listen, you guys can say that that's
at a security conference too. Yeah, Jesus, yeah.
I'm doing too light of a treatment of AOC, but to be honest, I think that a lot of these presidents, they're informed by their staff and by their security people. And do I think that it's a bad moment? No doubt about that. But to be honest with you, I don't really give a fuck.
Should the United States defend Taiwan if China decides to invade?
I think I agree. I agree with Pisco there. I don't think it's a huge deal. I am surprised that she flubbed that question, because she must have known that was going to come up. I don't know if her head was somewhere else or something was asked beforehand or something. I'm not sure how she airballed that so hard. But I don't think it's huge. I don't think it, especially for retarded fuck Americans saying this proves that she's too stupid to be president after fucking having Trump for 8 years.
Hang on a second. So I think it depends on context. I think it totally depends on context.
China invades.
Yeah. So if China invades,
China wants
I think
eat chips.
Yeah, I couldn't possibly predict all the multitude of different factors that would go into that decision. Soy pill, and so I couldn't. It's too complicated of a question to answer. That's how I would answer it. Something like that.
That would never be the way a politician would ever answer a question. That's just not allowed. Oh, that's too complicated to answer. Right? That would be crazy. But
what happens tomorrow?
if it happened tomorrow, should we put troops into conflict with the Chinese? I don't fucking know. The answer is I don't fucking know. If I'm being honest with you, I don't know what the fucking smart strategy is, and you don't know what the fucking smart strategy is.
I would say we are.
Yeah, but you guys aren't running for. Well, she's not running for president, but you're not representing the United States on a global platform where our position and her position would be relevant, right? Like, if there was ever a declaration of war, or whatever the fuck Congress does even these days with relation to wars or military attacks, her opinion on this might be relevant because she'd be voting on it, right?
We are committed to our allies and
weren't we committed to Ukraine? So do you support Biden's decision not to commit troops to fight Russia? Yes, we fucking were. Yes, we fucking were. Yes, we fucking were.
Calm down.
No, we weren't. I don't know. He's going to pull out that 94 agreement. We weren't. I mean, as upsetting as it is, and I do think it's upsetting, we didn't have like a formal commitment there, just like a promise not to basically fuck with it, which Russia also had and violated.
We were never, ever, ever committed to American boots on the ground in Ukraine. We were
committed to independence and sovereignty.
We have had a long-standing policy of being willing to commit boots on the ground in Taiwan, not Ukraine. There is a difference.
Hang on a second. So we were committed, along with the Soviet Union and the successor Russian Federation, to the sovereignty of Ukraine.
Yes.
And to say that it's like that we should say, for sure we will commit troops to Taiwan if China invades. I'm not sure that that's a smart decision if you're going to be the next commander in chief. I don't know that would be smart. That's just me. That's my position. To be honest with you, I don't think it's that big of a deal for her to flub in that situation. And frankly, it's not that different to say something like what I proposed to like what was Vice President nominee, oh my God, Tim Walz and Kamala said in response to some of the different hypotheticals levied at them during the debates. It was a bunch of word salad nonsense, basically non-committal answers. That's what I expect from this kind of shit. And I expect that in any given real situation that they would be sort of briefed and given the best possible response.
Well, maybe not boots on the ground, but you could at least say we will commit to defending our allies and maintaining our treaties. That's
like a nothing statement. Yeah, I mean, that's all it took. And so the difference between that is she looks weak, she looks like she's not prepared or whatever. But it's not like we're looking for the most coherent policy explanation of what would happen from a hypothetical, which, it seems like
very likely.
A very likely situation to say, if China invades right now, we know for certain that the right policy move is to put troops on the ground. I don't know about that.
Oh, I don't know.
Are you committed to that?
Specifically, boots on the ground is necessarily the right answer. I know what you're saying, yes. Yeah. But to be fair, I would have said, what do you mean Taiwan? You mean China? And then just had an even bigger Fox News.
Yeah, so we're memeing. Yeah. This is a kind of like whatever.
If Gavin Newsom, though, went to like an economic conference and then somebody asked him, would you keep our current tax brackets the way that they are or propose a different tax bracket? And then he fumbled through a non-answer. What would your response to that? What would your response to that be? What would you think? Like,
if he's fumbling on tax brackets?
Yeah, just a basic question. I mean, like,
he should never fumble. He should never fumble. No, the question about specifically troops on the ground in Taiwan in response to an invasion, I think that is not in AOC's wheelhouse as much. And I would look over at Gavin.
Yeah, but you're at a security conference. Like, hasn't she been talking about a bunch of international issues that aren't necessarily? When he says in her wheelhouse, you're going as a representative of the United States legislature. So theoretically, everything that the U.S. is involved in is going to be up for conversation here, and it's a security conference, right? I don't like arguing so heavily on the side. Like I said, I don't think it was a huge deal. I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, AOC's a fucking idiot. It was a huge fuck up. It's just kind of like floated an answer. Can you fucking fuck off? Oh my God.
Has made flubs of
member.
Gavin Newsom has
not in her wheelhouse. What do you mean? She's a member of Congress.
Wait, hang on a second. The specific military situation in Taiwan and China, do you think that's in AOC's wheelhouse? Do you agree that it's not in her wheelhouse?
No, of course it's in her wheelhouse. What do you mean? The Congress appropriates these funds. They would sign off on these kinds of things, right?
Yeah. Oh, good.
She's not a foreign policy guru. She's a domestic.
You don't have to be Congress, Pisco.
So you understand that Congress people have different domains of expertise. You agree with that, don't you?
What is this argument? Fuck. Hold on. Can I get onto that platform if I jump from this? Is there any way to get onto that platform, or am I perpetually cut off?
You want me to get you or do you care?
I need to be gotten. I don't know if I can make this jump. Oh, just kidding. I made it. I'm a god. I can extract myself. I'm a brave, strong, independent man who's pushing that button.
Do you have Survivor?
No, but I don't need it because I'm outside the train.
Okay.
Never say that to discredit her policy position on Israel, her policy position on Ukraine.
Let's just I'm focusing on Hutch real quick. You understand that different. I'm going to finish. Hutch, I'm going to finish the question.
You would have to go through Congress. You would have to go through Congress.
Hutch, I'm going to finish the question. All right. The question is following. You agree that different Congress people have different portfolios? Yes or no?
Yes.
And so you would agree, don't you, that part of the reason why AOC is out doing this may be to shore up her national security bona fides, right? Because it's not in her wheelhouse, correct?
No. That's a crazy. I went to present at a security conference on behalf of the United States legislature so that I could learn stuff while I'm in active conversations about them? No. That might be the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
No, I don't agree with that.
It is in her wheelhouse. So, okay, so every congressperson's wheelhouse is Taiwan, correct? I want you to say that.
If they're going to a security conference, they should probably have some kind of opinion on it or be ready to answer a question about it. Yeah? It's not like this is some... You motherfucker. Oh, he didn't get my shit, I think. Please tell me that train is moving. I hope it is.
By virtue of being a member of Congress.
Yeah, literally, yes.
Hutch,
Yes.
okay. So,
Yes.
so when I said it's in their wheelhouse, I didn't mean it's in their technical domain where they could conceivably legislate on it. Do you understand when I say wheelhouse? I mean it's not her area of expertise. It's not her area of domain, technical ability.
Then don't volunteer to give a talk there. And she doesn't have to know the exact. We're not asking her to lay out like what are the strategic maneuvers that the United States needs to make with regards to Taiwan. It's not like we're asking for some hyper specific answer.
You understand that's what I meant by that?
This is like one of the most important security, like national security in terms of like geopolitics.
What did I just say to you,
for the
Hutch?
United States? Pisco,
Hutch, what did I just say to you?
if the president were to commit ground and like troops in Taiwan, would they not have to go to Congress?
Yeah, well, apparently not. Apparently not. Just to be clear, apparently not.
No,
But,
they
we're not.
would.
No.
The answer is yes, they would. And so it is
We invaded.
for-
Wait. Hang on. We invaded Venezuela without any congressional approval. Yes or no?
No, this would be a protracted.
Did we have
my
to?
God.
This would be a protracted
It's
fight with
unclear. The
China.
answer to that, Hutch, is unclear. So my question for you, Hutch.
You would be expected to. And you know what? The counter to this is what happened after we invaded Venezuela? Congress got mad that they weren't informed. Congress was like, "Yo, what the fuck? We need to know about this shit. How are you telling other people or having secret operations without even keeping us in the know?" Oh my God.
It's a very simple question. So is every topic of federal importance within the wheelhouse of every single Congress member?
Bro, what is this strategy? We need to have a name for this, like of the going out and coming in and going out and coming in, where you do, the Soypo kind of did it, I would argue, when he was in here, maybe not intentionally, I think like Pisco does it, which I think is more intentional, where like, should you know about probably the most important geopolitical conflict of all time? Yeah, probably, really. So they have to be ultra informed about every single possible topic ever to ever come before a federal legislator. Every single topic? Like, no, bro, but it's like, this is like kind of a big one.
It's a very simple question. So is every topic of federal importance within the wheelhouse of every single Congress member?
Every single member of Congress.
Hutch, I'm going to finish the question. I'm going to finish. I'm finishing the question. I'm finishing the question. Right. So do you think that every topic of federal domain is within the wheelhouse of AOC or any member of Congress? Yes or no?
All that involved Congress. Yes.
So you understand when I said
now he's about to ask the most esoteric question ever.
Wheelhouse. I just meant it's not. She doesn't know a lot about it. That's what I meant. It's not in her wheelhouse.
Why would you, that's difficult for me to understand. Like, why would you not know much about the dynamic with Taiwan and China and our longstanding like agreement with Taiwan if you're a member of Congress?
Wait, because it's not her area of expertise.
So you know nothing about anything that's not a thing that you're particularly personally well versed. That's just a crazy. That's just an insane answer. This is a debate bro attack. There's no way that he legitimately believes this.
Agreed?
Okay, well.
Wait,
She could be called to vote on it tomorrow, Pisco. She should know at least something.
100%, but there's a thing called special.
At the Munich Security Conference, at a security conference, where they're going to be asked questions about foreign policy.
She could be called to vote on it tomorrow, Pisco. She should know at least something.
100%, but there's things called specialization. There's things called committees, and not every Congress member is read up in that's what policy.
Like, this is such a goofy. This is such a goofy fucking. This is just goofy. I don't even know what we're doing here.
Domain expert on every single issue, and you guys are lying to yourselves and your audiences if you disagree with that.
So I was going to actually just jump in because yeah, she's a member of like a few committees, 3 or 4 committees. None of them are Homeland Security or foreign affairs. That being said, yeah, this is not her wheelhouse because she didn't make it her wheelhouse.
So you disagree with Hutch?
Oh my God! And Pisco is like so obsessed with getting an own on his go. He wouldn't even let the fucking guest finish his sentence. Like, wait, so he's a fucking retard, right? Tell this bald fuck that he's fucking retarded, right? Like, Jesus Christ, chill.
Yeah, this is not her wheelhouse because she didn't make it her wheelhouse.
So you disagree with Hutch? You disagree with Hutch? I just want to be clear. You disagree with Hutch. When Hutch said, "Of course it's in her wheelhouse," you disagree with that, right, Jose?
Here, I'm gonna.
Did Hutch say, "Of course it's in her wheelhouse," or that she would be expected to vote on it, so she should know something about it?
Explain why I said
yes.
and I'm gonna explain why. So here's the problem. This is not her wheelhouse. So
you disagree with Hutch. When Hutch said, "Of course it's in her wheelhouse," you disagree with that, right, Jose?
Here, I'm gonna explain why I said
yes.
and I'm gonna explain why. So here's the problem. This is not her wheelhouse. So why is she going to the Munich Security Conference when she knows this is not part of her?
Exactly. If that's gonna be your answer, then you shouldn't be there. And please go earlier with that really fucking weird statement of like, well, maybe she's just going there to learn. And that's why you're giving that's why you're a presenter? What? Or a speaker?
her expertise. She's going to be asked on foreign security affairs, on things that have to do with security around the world, and she doesn't know anything about it. And it was clearly an issue when she was asked. So why would you show up and be like, if you just want to be an audience member or accompany someone, cool. But why are you now a main speaker talking about foreign affairs when you don't know anything about it?
Yeah.
So listen, no doubt that this little segment you've seen, you're claiming it's representative.
And whenever you get these types of people that are like the ultra debate bros, nobody else does it to them. I'm guilty of this too. I don't do it to other people. But like, this is when Hutch should start screaming like, wait, you admit that Pisco, what he just said was correct. She shouldn't have actually been there. So what you said earlier about her going there to learn, that was really fucking stupid, right? You admit that was completely incorrect, right? That was totally wrong, right? He should do that here. But now Pisco's going to get the opportunity to worm his way around into a better, more amenable answer.
Let's say that she flubbed the whole thing, and that this clip that you've shown is representative of her broader, position there. And I'll ask the question actually: is this representative of her overall performance throughout the whole thing?
What?
I didn't watch the whole thing. I've seen 3 clips.
And then I'll ask Hutch: is this representative of her overall thing? Okay. So given that, I'm not sure.
I haven't seen one good clip. I haven't seen one good clip. I'll say that.
Maybe there's a reason for that, but I'll grant you that it was a bad showing. That the whole thing was a bad showing.
The whole thing?
Is that the most important aspect of who I want to be the leader of the Democratic Party? The answer to that question is no. The answer to that question is fucking no. How many times, by the way, have we seen politicians flub up answers, not be domain experts in given areas? I would vote for someone like AOC or someone who's more domestic focused for those strengths, and I would hope that they would shore up their other bona fides through the course of experience.
Well,
and that, by the way, was something that was done with Obama. Obama was noted.
Who the fuck is Pisco even talking to? This is like a personal stream rant. I don't even know what. Nothing he's saying has anything to do with what anybody's talking about his entire fucking show right now. What?
To be an experience, and sometimes that actually did show. And you know how he shored up his inexperience in foreign policy? He picked Joe Biden, who does have.
Nobody's talking about that though. Like if Obama was off giving speeches on international politics or geopolitical security strategies across the world, they'd be critical of him, rightfully so. Man, you guys suck. How are you dying out here? What's going on? Are we not in friendly lobbies? Wait, did Prine get PvP'd or die to ARC?
I got PvP'd.
Well, damn.
He baited them. It's getting friendlier. But this is 3 out of 10 that we need to run, so hurry it up there.
Okay. You really don't think the time matters? You guys.
A little bit, yeah.
We're flying
like 30
blind.
seconds.
Okay, wait, I'll go extract, okay?
I think we're
domain expertise in foreign policy, who was on those committees, and contrary to Hutch's view that every congressperson is wheelhouse is everything, actually did have some specific expertise there.
What I'm saying is, let me clarify. I'm not saying this is disqualifying. Like, I didn't watch this and think, I could never support her in a primary or a general. Like, that's obviously not what I'm saying. What it did make me do was pause a little bit and question why she didn't do more to prepare for a question that she was very likely to be asked. I mean, this particular issue, would America commit to boots on the ground, in a military confrontation with the second largest superpower in the world if they were to invade Taiwan? I mean, everybody that serves in Congress knows that this is, a relevant issue that is always salient to one degree or another. And I did feel a little disappointed and slightly embarrassed for her that she didn't seem to prepare for that question.
She had a brain fart. Pisco, I do want to add one thing. I do think she's smart enough and knows a lot more than this clip let on, to be clear.
Yes,
I think she was being cautious of anything, and this was indicative of her saying, wow, I really don't want to be clipped, saying I'll commit to boots on the ground in Taiwan without fully knowing whether or not that's our policy position. And she didn't know a good way to articulate that. Because you know what the other Fox News clip would have been in the other situation is AOC commits to going to World War III with China at the Munich Security Conference, right? So I'm not saying
it's so fucking funny how it really is a double standard. I have to talk about it. Like, yeah, no doubt, bad showing in terms of this clip. I haven't seen the rest of it or whatever. But the double standard is palpable. I mean, Joe Biden says we finally beat Medicare, and like it's half the time sounding nonsensical.
And every single person cringed like a motherfucker. What is Pisco? Who is he fighting against? What demons is he trying to excise on this platform? Where were all of the Biden defenders when he fucked that debate up? What the fuck?
Standard is palpable. I mean, Joe Biden says we finally beat Medicare, and like it's half the time sounding nonsensical in response to the shit. And we are willing to put that like, oh, it doesn't matter. He has gurus. Oh, it doesn't matter. Whatever the fuck. And he has brain farts where he's literally catatonic, staring at shit. To say nothing of Kamala Harris, who I again think is honorable and noble. And like, yeah, you want to know how much fucking word salad answers, rambling shit, which I wouldn't do anything differently than Biden. Whatever, we did everything perfectly. Yeah, these are fucking brain farts. But you raise the importance of it so much when it's a lefty Hutch because you have a vendetta against.
What the fuck? Everybody thought that was an embarrassing answer for AOC. You don't have to be a lefty hater to think that. She's at the Munich Security Conference, speaking as a representative of the United States of America, and a question is brought up about Taiwan. Like, you probably should be ready to answer that question. Again, to reiterate for the millionth time, I don't think that she's like disqualified or something or needs to fucking resign or we should all hate her or whatever. I know that I know she knows more about the situation than that answer seemed to imply, but Jesus.
everything perfectly. Yeah, these are fucking brain farts, but you raise the importance of it so much when it's a lefty, Hutch, because you have a vendetta against lefties. You have a vendetta against Hasan Piker, and that's what's going on here.
I think it's important to note. I think it's important to note that when people say that about Joe Biden and people say that about Kamala Harris, you can offset it with accomplishments. We don't have that with AOC. AOC hasn't gotten a single bill out of committee or have a single bill to her name that has become law. And she's been in Congress for how long? So so if okay, we can say, yeah, you know what, maybe foreign policy isn't her wheelhouse. But what about her job? Why can't she get a bill out of committee?
Oof. Okay, chill. Calm down there, buddy.
Yeah, no, that's fine. She hasn't had executive experience. She also hasn't been there as long as Joe Biden did when he got into executive power with the vice presidency and then the presidency. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is how much you're going to read into a brain fart or a misspeak. And it's fucking embarrassing.
Who was reading into it? Again, who is Pisco shadowboxing right now? Did I miss? Maybe they made stronger statements earlier in the show and I just didn't hear them?
It's not about reading so much into it. It's just that, okay, like we could chalk it up and say, you know what, maybe she wasn't prepared at that moment, or maybe she just had a little brain fart, or maybe she just didn't want to be overly committed to a particular position. We get that. But then my follow-up is like, okay, but what do we have that to balance with? What accomplishments does she have where we can say, okay, you know what, this was just a fluke because she has these other things to lean on. We don't have those other things to lean on.
Well, she's a base Democratic member. And I don't know what we're considering for at the moment. Are we considering her for leadership of the country? You're speaking specifically in the event that she runs for president?
Her job. The job that she currently holds.
As a Congress member. But yeah, right. Do you want to understand how fucking stupid 95% of Congress sounds at any given moment? It is embarrassing to watch them in any fucking committee about anything tech related, anything economic related. They're old, reading from fucking papers, and they sound like they're idiots. And half of them are fucking idiots, low IQ morons, in my opinion. And we're going to...
I don't even know what is happening.
Sit here and say she's not qualified to be a member of Congress? It's a joke.
Who said
I didn't say she wasn't qualified. I didn't say she was...
Who said... Wait, who the fuck is saying that? What?
Qualified.
Are you questioning her ability to be in the Congress and to be a base member in Congress? That's what I asked you. Are you considering her for national leadership or for the job she currently holds?
No. If she runs for president, she wins a nomination, I would gladly support her. What my issue is
Hutch,
that,
I think, right?
she is not prepared to run for the presidency because she's going to be raked through the coals. Because when you have a Joe Biden gap, when you have a Kamala Harris gap, they have a series of accomplishments. Even if Barack Obama had made a gap, he had accomplishments in the Senate and in the House before that. AOC doesn't have that. She's not anchored to something. My recommendation for her is to get into a foreign affairs committee, figure out what the issue is, come up with a bipartisan bill, come up with a bill that can build bipartisan support, and then move on to the Senate or run against Chuck Schumer before getting to the presidency.
In virtue of this answer, when you're expecting, really, she's needing to give a nothing statement. Like what she has to give is something like, I wouldn't like prejudge any sort of situation. It would be a very strong response.
Yes,
that's all I can say.
sure,
It would be a very strong response. Yeah. That's what she should have said. And if she had said that nothing statement, none of you guys would be saying this shit.
Correct.
But because she has a little bit of a moment, now you're turning into...
No. Don't get me wrong. If you go through my Twitter, you'll see that my hope for her is that she runs and beats Chuck Schumer, because I want Chuck Schumer out of there. That's what I want. And then to run for the presidency.
And I didn't think that's like AOC's fumbling and she sucks. I still like AOC. I was like, oh, this looks bad. That's the...
Yeah, I like AOC too. I like her.
No, but there's a broader significance to what Hutch, you think that this is a broader significant moment that like it shows some like... No. That's exactly what you said.
And Hutch can't even clarify his position? He's gonna like fucking crucify him on how he interpreted what Hutch said? Jesus.
When I said that this is not disqualifying in the sense that I would never consider voting for her in the primary, I'm being honest. I don't know why you're having this reaction. I said it was a bad moment. It was a bad moment.
You are suggesting that this is like calling into question her bona fides. I mean, really, to me, this is a nothing moment. Who the fuck cares? You flubbed on some nothing answer to a question that no one expects to be a straightforward answer. I'm gonna be honest. You go to these conferences just to like talk at each other.
I think this particular issue, or the question about how far America would go to protect Taiwan, this has been a very important issue in terms of geopolitics for decades. And so the idea that, she wasn't prepared for that did make me pause for a minute and go, wow, that's not the best moment that she had. But again, I never said that it was disqualifying. I don't think she should be like kicked out of Congress. I would vote for her if she was the nominee. I wouldn't discount the idea of voting for her to be the nominee if I thought...
You think it's no big deal, right? I mean, it's no big deal.
I agree.
I did not say it's not a big deal.
I like how Pisco like tries to own that position. Oh, so then you agree with me. No, you just somehow discovered Hutch's position after screaming at him for 15 minutes. Jesus.
So is it a big deal or not, Hutch?
It's concerning, is what I would say.
In what respect is it concerning, Hutch?
I've explained it to you.
No, I don't understand. So it's concerning because why? Why is it concerning, Hutch? Why is it concerning? Why is it a big deal?
I just explained it to you. Do you want me to repeat it?
It's a big deal because people know about the issue and she flubbed an answer.
It's a big deal. Also, it's a big deal.
This is another thing, right? Is it did we call this the clown mirror? Where every single time you're trying to explain your adversary's position, you just can't do it with any amount of good faith whatsoever. Oh, so your issue is that, she flubbed a single answer. Oh, your issue is that she's not an expert on this. Oh, your issue is like, no. That's not what he said. He never said anything even remotely close to that. I don't know why your summary of his position. Also, keep in mind, this is supposed to be like a friendly environment. You're not even in like a crazy debate bro environment. This is supposed to be a friendly environment. What the fuck is happening? Chill.
Because this particular issue with respect to Taiwan is a big deal. It's a big deal. It's not a small deal.
Anything you say about an issue that is a big deal, that itself is a big deal.
Wait, what the fuck, dude? Holy shit. Oh, so if it's a big issue, then every single thing you say at all points in time should be the best thing ever and should always be 100% correct, and you should know every single thing about every single thing about every single thing about this issue, even if you're not in a committee about it?
because you fucked up something related to a big deal.
I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. I take
No, this is performative. Just actually have the conversation. It's not a big deal. You're saying it's a big.
I'm starting to feel like there's a lot of bullying and abuse, but don't worry. Pisco's going to bring it all back at the end when he says, "Don't worry, I love you, Hutch." Okay, I love you, Hutch. Don't worry, I love you, Hutch. I love you, Hutch.
It is your position, Hutch, that it's a big deal, right? You're saying it's concerning.
It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
This is so bad faith. It is so bad.
My opinion of her went up. I take my mind. I change my mind.
No, hang on. This sarcasm. Be normal. So just to be clear, I just want the actual unironic position. And in terms of severity of big deal, where would you rank this?
Oh my God.
4.
Unironic. A 4
out of 10. Out of 10.
4 out of 10 big deal. Because she flooded the line. That's fucking stupid.
What could he have said there? What could he have said? What is our ranking system? 1 out of 10, where 10 is what? You accidentally push the nuclear button and 0 is a 4. That's fucked up, bro. Like,
She's 36 years old. This is her first venture out on the international stage. I think she actually did a good job in some of her other appearances. She sat down with Gretchen Whitmer and Matthew Whitaker, and I think she held her own just talking about income inequality. But I don't think she's running for president. I think people are like trying to push her into this role. I think she's running for Senate, like Jose said. That's in 2 years against Chuck Schumer. I think he might even bow out, say, I'm done, and I'm going to hand it over and let Dan Goldman and her and whoever else fight for it. And then let her get a couple years in the Senate, and then when she's 45, she can. So I think we're just debating something that's not really happening.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's no big deal. I agree. 100%. We all agree.
We have time for one last lib-left contentious
100%.
point. All right. I saw someone. Actually, no, it was Hasan. Hasan was talking about.
Oh my God.
Gavin Newsom. No, this is the Gavin Newsom thing. It's not a Hasan thing. He said Gavin Newsom doesn't support the billionaire tax, and I did some research. And as someone who thinks that the concept of billionaires is disgusting and that we should redistribute wealth better, I think I'm also anti-billionaire tax. I don't think the wealth tax works. I've yet to be shown that the outcome is what I would want, which is the redistribution. It seems like, especially with this retroactive one in California, that all it's going to do is make a lot of them move, which actually just decreases tax revenue. But I wanted to know your guys' thoughts. Is it a good thing? Not in concept, because in concept I agree. Get these billionaires wealth and give it to things that matter. But in execution, it seems like this is not the best policy. I wanted to know your guys' thoughts.
I get really frustrated because I feel like there's so much like nonsense, thought-terminating accusations that go on if you have a policy disagreement. So if you say, for example, like what you just said, and I assume you're basing this off the fact that there were, I think, like 4 or 5 European countries, that, including Sweden, that tried a billionaire tax.
Norway,
They found that it was like the juice was not worth the squeeze. What they found was that, number one, like there's a number of reasons, but there was capital flight, but there was also the fact that to tax billionaires in that kind of way, their finances and assets are so insanely complicated that they hire these like entire firms of accounting, people that do accounting. And they have to hire, so the state has to hire like scores of people to dive into their books and everything. But either way, like I'm not literate enough economically to give an opinion one way or another. All I know is that there are European countries that tried it and didn't work for them and they repealed it. But if you oppose a billionaire tax, you immediately get labeled as somebody who, you know, wants to cater to billionaires. Like that's what's frustrating about this intra-party kind of fighting that goes on in times like these, you know, like if you support a public option versus a Medicare for all, well, that means you don't want people to have healthcare. Like all of these policy disagreements get framed in this really binary way, and it's incredibly frustrating and I think destructive and counterproductive.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, because I'm like anti-billionaire should exist, and yet I'm going to get framed as like a centrist for saying what I just said. But Guy, what do you think?
Well, I'm with you. I think you should go straight to prison if you get one more dollar over $999 million. I don't see any value in billionaires, but I understand. I think the argument from Newsom is, look, they're just going to move to another state like Florida, whatever. So we need a national tax if we're going to do that. That's why we're against it here. You know, I think Dan Goldman, congressman from New York, has a good idea. He calls it the Robin Hood Act, and it's to tax the loans that billionaires take out on their portfolios. He says it can generate about $40 billion. So I think maybe we should focus on stuff like that first. That's a little more palatable than going after unrealized capital gains.
Yeah, loans, land taxes, more on the companies. Like, I'm for the taxes. I just want something that works. Jose, what do you think?
I think he better come up with some good talking points why he opposed it and something that's digestible for folks. I personally don't think it was the biggest deal over here in California. But I do think that he can definitely get labeled as being pro-billionaire very quickly in the primary. So I think it's definitely incumbent upon him to come up with, again, a very bite-sized way to kind of explain that vote in a way that doesn't just you don't get your eyes don't glaze over as he's explaining it.
So he needs a better answer than his when they asked him about APAC funding, and he's like, "That's interesting."
Yeah, he definitely needs a better answer than that.
That's an interesting question.
To call Newsom pro-billionaire when we have the highest marginal tax rate of any state is fucking so stupid, but whatever.
But it could happen. It could definitely happen.
I mean, ultimately, on some level, I totally agree with Hutch that like the litmus test for some of this shit, where if you're against the policy, it must be because you love evilness and you want rich people to like lord over the serfs or whatever. I think that's a bit silly. I do think that it's important for him to have good answers on it. I think it's a good chance that it's unconstitutional and unlawful to excise such a tax, just based on the overall wealth of an individual, or I don't know what the metrics were in that specific law. You guys will have to train me, but maybe I'll be in favor of testing its legality. If for anything, it might have some impetus for us to have the much needed court reform that Josiah and I have been fighting about. But I do think that one answer you could give if you're new. Oh. Did you just get an idea, Hutch?
No, we didn't even talk about it, but Obama came out and was pushing for Democrats to get rid of the filibuster.
Yeah, that was based.
I don't know. Maybe we'll save that for the next one.
That gave a permission structure for us libs, of course, to support it. No, we've always supported it. And
That's what you took away from the podcast? He said aliens are real, man.
Aliens are real.
He clarified.
Mathematically impossible.
I just meant statistically.
I don't know if you saw, but he clarified. He said, just to be clear, he never saw any evidence of aliens. It's just that the universe is so infinitely vast, and the reason why we haven't seen aliens is because the galaxies are moving away from each other faster than the speed of light or whatever.
He knows the Drake equation. It's just
the Drake equation. No, we should no, but that means we should have heard by now, and we haven't. So that makes me.
Fermi paradox paired with the Drake equation. Right? We can't. Maybe we can't break because there's the great filter, right? Either these civilizations destroy themselves, or speed of light is insurmountable, and it doesn't matter that they exist. They're just so far away, we'll just never see each other.
I am afraid that that's where we're at. Maybe there's some wormhole or something that we can go into. Maybe if we do that, we can get away from this fucking.
Think about this. Think about this, guys. Think about this. Trillions, hundreds of trillions, and trillions and trillions of years from now, the galaxies will be so far apart that you literally won't be able to see the other galaxies. And when life springs into existence during these times, and that evolves into intelligent life, and they're looking up at the stars, they're not going to even fucking know that they're a part of a vast, infinite universe. How crazy is that? Anyways, Jose, where can people find you on social media? Thanks for coming on today.
They're not going to know that Hasan is evil. How will they go on?
You can find me on Instagram at Jose Can You See By. That's BY. Or Jose Can You See _ on TikTok, or just Jose Can You See on Twitter.
And Josiah wants to know: do you support expanding SCOTUS? Yes or no?
It's not going to happen, but yeah.
No, answer it.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably not going to happen. Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, thanks for coming on, Jose. It's been a pleasure. I'm still, guys. Awesome. I haven't asked you guys. I've been asking chat. If you saw me typing, I'm trying to figure out who the fuck Jose looks. He looks like an actor. He looks a little bit like Juice from Sons of Anarchy, but it's someone else. It's some teacher character, and I spent on the tip of my tongue.
Teacher character
for like 2 hours. It's not maybe from Spider-Man. I don't know. Anyway,
I think you're just being racist.
What the fuck?
What the hell? Look, I said all white people look the same, so that's a fair criticism of me.
I want to push the buttons. Let me push the button. Are we queuing up? I want to push them for hidden bunker.
Well, you're not ready for.
No, this fucking retard wants to still.
No, we're not doing that. Wasps. That's retarded. We're not doing that. I want to push the buttons. But if you guys don't want to push the buttons, that's okay. I can go push the buttons alone.
I'll push buttons with you.
Okay. Thank you. I love you.
Buttons don't even start. Wait, are they right now?
That's the hidden thing, isn't it? Hidden bunker? It's 1 minute!
Okay, do what I have to do. Let's go! I can't fucking clear my inventory.
Oh my god.
Oh no, you might lose 2 stacks!
Who? Ready up! Who salted? I'm not the
party.
Are you? Okay, he dropped. Okay. Okay. How much time do we have? How many seconds?
We're fine. If we queued up, we're fine.
Does it really work that way?
I think so.
Okay. All right.
Hi. What's going on with you this week?
Nothing exciting here with my regular gig. I'll just be continuing to debate MAGA over on TikTok, so make sure you guys follow. I'm really important on TikTok. I got my side gig this weekend. We'll be doing a giant arena somewhere in North America. That's all.
I love that you call it your side gig. It's like it's just me with the.
They pay him, bro. They pay him to come out there.
And I go, it's like, yeah, it's my side gig. I tour with these rock stars.
So, do you remember the music video for "Pretty Fly for a White Guy" back in the day?
Yeah.
Does Guy look a little familiar too?
Well, I don't remember it that well. I just know the song, but I will. I'll have
go
to
to the music video.
Okay.
Jesus. Okay. Okay, we just sit near the bunker entrance, and then when they do the event, we go in and we push the buttons, right? How many buttons are there to push?
There's 8.
Okay.
You don't have to be the first one to push it or the only one to push it.
Yeah, I'm aware.
If somebody gets it before you, they do reset.
Yeah,
so.
you can just sit there and wait for it. Okay. Pisco was about to say, Hutch is my boy.
Go sit. I already have this. I'm going to just go activate shit.
Gonna go activate shit? Like the hidden bunker event? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You've already pushed all the buttons?
Yeah.
What's the max score you can get? What is it, 8,000?
9,600.
9,600, okay.
Frank's mad.
I thought the event started in 3 minutes. I had no idea that we were just gonna fucking... We can just do it tomorrow, right? The Wasp one.
Yeah, and there's also one in like 2 hours.
Yeah, okay.
Then there's also Stella Night Raid for ticks in 1 hour.
Oh boy.
We have time.
Okay, guys. I love you so much. Go to destiny.gg/store and buy my merch. All of it. I'll connect before I leave. Does this game force IRL logging in? Yeah, you have to scan your ball sack. Watch the new Nick Shirley video? Maybe tomorrow, but his stuff is painfully fucking stupid to watch. Oh my fucking god. Why are they leaving?
Funniest, like, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's for Hasan stuff.
Opening address by Chancellor Merz to discuss whether, well, our essay question is the international order between reform and destruction. But I think we've kind of realized that actually something fundamental has shifted. And those of you who were in the room a year ago, we got...
These are two different talks, right? Day one. Merz, Macron, and Newsom. Oh, okay. Yeah. Fuck. Are you able to ping on the map where the hidden bunker is? I don't remember where it is exactly. There's an entrance near me. Just kidding. Found it. Oh my god.
Don't shoot people, please.
I would never. I'm friendly, bro.
LaRue's? While you're down, oh, okay.
Jesus. Okay. Plum. Wait. Hold on.
The east antenna has been successfully activated.
Okay. I need to hide 1 sec. Plum, leaf, flash, bustle, thumb, oyster, floppy, zip, skim, soy, dart, Bombay, speed, flip, hoisin, and missus. First 4 letters are synonyms for failure or whatever. Easy. Speed, dart, flash, zip. Maybe. Okay. Oh, types of milk? Skim milk, soy milk, leaf milk? No, sauces. Maybe? Plum sauce? Is that a thing? Fucking easy. I crushed it. Flip, leaf, skim, thumb through the pages. Okay, that makes sense. All right. I'll leave you guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Stay safe. Bye-bye.